Okay. No, it's just the messaging is weird if they tell you, like, I'm scared if it's going to stop the recording completely or whatever. All right. You want to come in real quick? And I need to open it up. Did I sign you up as a, I don't remember. Never mind. I'm going to open it up in a second. Let me just see how I can share the screen. I'm going to share this guy, but I want to make it presentation mode. Let's go home. Okay, I am ready to go. This is here, which is good. Participant is here, attendees, and I'm going to open it and see what happens. All right, dear. Talk to you in a bit. Thank you. Bye. Thanks. All right, looks like good morning, everybody. Good morning, people that are joining from all over the world. This is great. I see people coming in. This is awesome that people show up a few minutes earlier. I love it. I really do. So thank you, everybody, for coming. We have some quite a few names today, which will be interesting. And we have an amazing speaker today, and I can't wait for that. I have a question for those of you that are coming in right now, and those of you who know how I roll. So I'm going to allow you to speak so I can hear your voice and say hi. So let me start real quick by saying hi to Mr. Mohar, Asaf Mohar. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better if you can see my microphone, like I'll set it up here, or not?
Well, I think not, but
no, it's okay.
Personal opinion.
Good. Thank you for coming, and good to hear your voice. I appreciate it. David Bishop, I'm going to. Where are you, my friend? How are you over there in the world of Great Britain?
Hi, fine and dandy. How you doing?
Good to hear your voice, my friend. You think I should? Yeah. Because I see a lot of speakers come in with the video like this, right?
You look like a pop. You look like a pop star. I know that's your kind of your second your second job.
All right, so that's a no. Okay.
No. I mean, it's a very impressive. It's a very impressive microphone, but probably looks better with it just slightly out of shot.
Evan said, "Get rid of that thing." Okay, I got rid of it. Hey, Dave, since I have you on open mic, did you see the announcement this morning from Altor?
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's so. Is it Travel Leaders Corporate is now rebranding under the Altor name? Is that right?
Travel Leaders Corporate combined with Altor into one Altor.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sensible thing. I mean, the Altor name's been out there for a lot of years. It clearly plays very well in the corporate space. So
Yeah.
I guess the guys behind the guys think that's the right decision to maximize sales. So yeah, seems like a smart move.
We'll see what happens. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate your time, David.
Cool. Good to speak to you.
Yeah. And everybody else, of course, you know, I know you have a lot of things, a lot of places where you can be right now. So I really cherish the fact that you're here. We have 4 more minutes until we start. Let's say hello to a few more people. Anka, how are you, Anka?
Hi.
Hi.
Finally.
Finally. How are you?
Oh, I'm better. It's a bit tough in here.
Just
With
remind everybody,
everything going on.
remind everybody where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Romania.
Yeah, and are you close to Bucharest or where are you?
Actually, yeah, I'm very close to Bucharest. I just live outside Bucharest. I don't live in the city. I live outside Bucharest, so that's good.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining, Anka, and I hope things are getting better over there soon.
Hopefully, everywhere else as well, I hope.
Yeah, I know where we are. Thank you, Anka. I know where we are. It's getting a little bit better. I'm in Atlanta. Slowly, it's getting better, and we'll see what happens. All right, let us. We have 2.5 more minutes. Why don't we say hello to Mr. Skip Ashmore? How are you, sir?
Great. How are you? Can you hear me?
Always good. I can hear you almost like you're here. Are you in Georgia or in Florida? Where are you?
I'm in Georgia. Yeah. We came back. We were down in Florida for a spell, and we'll head back there in another 4 or 5 days.
That's awesome. Enjoy the weather. It's gorgeous today.
Yeah, it is great.
Thank you for being here, Skip. That's awesome. All right. Another 1.5 minutes, and I see we have some names that I'm not really familiar with. Nancy Heightstone. How are you, Nancy? Nancy going once, Nancy going twice.
And Nancy is brand new at this, so you're my first Zoom, so I'm just learning.
Am I really?
Pardon?
Am I really your first Zoom?
Yes, somehow I seem to be living in a cave, but it's worked out so far.
No, I love it. This is an honor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, and you're up for a treat, and you sound great. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I will chime in if I come up with anything, and thank you for making me feel so welcome.
Of course, that's what it's part of it. And on the bottom of your screen, there should be a little icon for a raised hand icon. So if you have a question, you want to comment, you'll hear me through the session say, raise your hand if, if you think this or if you think that, to make it a little more interactive. Some people still actually raise their hand physically. I can't see it unless they have the make sure you click on the button, okay?
Okay, great. Will that little button pop up once the seminar starts? Because I'm not seeing a button on my screen right now.
You should be able to see. So I don't have a participant view. Let's do a little experiment here.
Nancy, go to the very bottom of your screen.
Right.
You should see chat, raise hand, and Q&A.
No, the last thing on my screen is guest, Jesse Tedisco, but there are no icons, no.
Let me do this. Let me stop sharing for a second.
Okay.
Just for 1 second. Okay. Do you see it now on the bottom?
Oh, well, it was there for a minute. It's back. Yes, it's here. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Now,
it really does take a village to get me started.
No, it just took Skip and I. That's it.
Well, it's a small village. It's a very special village.
And speaking of village, and again, thank you very much for being here. We are going to kick off this session right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Those of you, I'm going to mute you again, Nancy, so you, if you speak now, we won't be able to hear you. And I'm going to mute everybody else that I unmuted. And welcome everybody. It's noon on the East Coast, and good morning to the folks on the West Coast. I see a few names on the West Coast as well, so top of the morning to you. Yes, we have a great guest today, and I see that there's a lot of chatter already on the chat, which is awesome. And good morning from Dubai. Wow, Deepa, how are you? Good to hear you, or see your name. We'll hear your voice in a few minutes. And we're going to start. And for those of you who are the first time and don't know me just a little bit, I come from the sales and customer relationship background. For years, it's been fascinating for me, the psychology and the interaction, the behavior, what drives us as people, and how do we form business relationships, etc. So neuromarketing and the psychology and emotional intelligence got me to form a couple of years ago Emotional Relevance, which is a philosophy, a theory, or an approach, if you want to call it, kind of under the whole emotional intelligence and EQ need. Good morning, Nick. I see your name out there, which is awesome to have you here. And good evening from Geneva. Wow, Mr. Ramin Kawe. I hope I'm saying it right. We'll talk to you probably in a little bit as well. Thank you. Wow, we have people from all over, which is fascinating. So this is in a nutshell about me and my passion. And I have a blog, and I urge everybody to sign up for the blog. It's on my website, alonzaibert.com. You go to the blog. The blog is called 2 Weeks Notice, a touch of emotional relevance every couple of weeks. So you can sign up and get it via the email. Short stories that basically all I want from people who read it to go, yeah. All right, so I see that my friend, Mr. Hibbert, just joined. So Andy, always make me smile when I see your name. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cover 3 elements as usual. One is, what is the element of togetherness? Today, we're going to talk about the togetherness, the feeling of togetherness, and the challenge of it in the online world, right? We'll talk about the gaps of togetherness between the offline, where we meet in person, versus the online world. And of course, some best practices, because as you heard Nancy earlier, those of you who were here, it's our first time on Zoom. We are all forced to work online, to communicate online. And so Nancy is probably thinking now, okay, I figured out how to technically be on a Zoom call, but now what, right? How do I how do I make it beneficial? How do I make it efficient? How do I make it so that people actually, the level of communication is there, etc. So let's start with a bit of science. And since I love to make it interactive, this is the first time I'm going to ask people to raise your hand if I want to ask you to read out loud what's on the whiteboard so we can discuss it real quick. And if you don't raise your hand, I'm simply going to pick somebody. So you have 3 seconds to volunteer. If not, I'm coming after you. Who am I coming after? Who am I coming after? All right, let's see. Melissa DeLuca, how are you? Melissa going once, Melissa going twice. There you are.
Great.
Hello.
Hi. So you'd like me to read this?
Well, first of all, say how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Where are you calling from?
Detroit?
Oof, still snowing out there?
No, finally.
All right, Melissa, please read that couple of sentences for us.
Across individuals, societies, and even eras, humans consistently seek inclusion over exclusion, membership over isolation, and acceptance over rejection. As Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary conclude, humans have a need to belong, a pervasive drive to form and maintain at least a minimum quantity of lasting, positive, and impactful interpersonal relationships. And most of us satisfy this need by joining groups.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Melissa. So I didn't come up with this. We as human beings, we have a need. It's innate in us, that need to feel belong. And what has happened in the last 3 months, that need is taken away from us. So besides the fact that now a lot of people talk about the psychological aspect of this isolation, right? But we as people, right, we need that sense of belonging. And so we crave that. So we try to be online and we form a session. Everybody here now, online, we try to, you chat, some people chat, we talk, etc. But it's still missing a lot of things. So let's do a quick exercise. Let's imagine that you are going to a bar with 8, 10 of your friends. Really think for a second, you're going into a bar with 10 of your friends. You grab a table, you order a couple of pitchers, and everybody's kind of having a good time. And you feel together. Please write in the chat for everyone, not just for the panelists, right? For everyone in the chat, what are some of the feelings? What do you feel when you're in that bar together with those friends of yours? And while you are writing, this is a good opportunity for me to promote Jesse to a panelist so we can have him join us here. So Jesse, you are now a panelist as well. Welcome. We'll do a formal introduction, but feel free to say hi and join the conversation. So here is some of the feelings that I'm seeing here: joy, happy, excited, friendship, belonging, happiness, security, right? Companionship, Sandra said, that's very, very nice. Energy from people, yes, Ramin. Energy from people. Happy, Evan is happy. Anka, warm feeling, hug. Okay, that's awesome. But also belonging, warm, minus pandemic, Eve. Okay, wanted. Richard said wanted. Nancy said curiosity about their lives. This is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, let me ask you this though. Which of these feelings that you expressed are valid now? Jesse, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Yourself?
I'm always good, man. Which of these feelings you think that everybody here expressed are valid right now on this session where we're sitting, where everybody sees me, nobody sees everybody else, right? And we're not really together. And Eve says none. And now I feel like I will catch or just caught the virus if I was in the bar. I know, Eve, but what I mean is we are now online and we are far away from one another. You can't see who the participants are, Those feelings, wow, Andy said humility and impatience, sometimes big mix. Andy, do you mind if hold on, let me find you here. Andy, and allow to talk. How are you, first of all? Unmute, mute, Andy, Mr. Hibbert. Going once, twice, no? All right. Most of the feelings that everybody here expressed, right, are not valid when we are online and separated. And why is that? Okay, let me break it down for you because it's important you understand. So during your next online experience, you can take advantage of it. First of all, and I think Ramin kind of mentioned it earlier, when we go into a boardroom and we go in a bar, it doesn't matter, right? There's a sense of others. There's a sense, there's vibe, there's energy of others, right? 2, there's a setting of ambiance. How is the ambiance being set? When we go to a room, right? Everybody look and see the same lights. Everybody sees the same view from the room, right? All these little things, the temperature in the room, we are all experiencing the same temperature in the room. It sets the same ambiance. Okay, I wanna go back to the slide, but I wanna play a quick video. And this video is a guy that was, it's a TED Talk of a guy that was in the FBI for 25 years, and his entire career is built on non-verbal communication, okay, of sense of others, body language, and how important that is. So let's just view for a minute, watch it for a minute. Let me set the sound so you can hear it well. Let's see. I thought there was a way here to... All right, let me just hit play and let's see what happens.
Nonverbals is everything that communicates, but is not a word. This beautiful theater, it's communicating to us. How you sit is communicating to us. The things that you attach to yourself, a purse, a pen, a fancy car, all these things are communicating. How you look at others communicates. And all day long, we are communicating non-verbally. All day long. You can look in on your child as they sleep, and you can tell if they're having a nightmare or they're sleeping soundly.
I think it's amazing. Obviously I cut it short. If anybody wants, I can send them the link, but we all know that it's there, even if we can't express or verbalize it, right? The psychology of just the room, right? And so all of these things are missing in the online world. When you go to a boardroom meeting in your office with 6 other people, and on the way to the boardroom, you know, you bumped into one of your colleagues and you're chit-chatting a little, right? Even those things, right, are not there. And they all impact the sense of togetherness. Let's continue for a second. Common objects. I mentioned the window, the view, even the table, that everybody in the boardroom put their notebooks, their phones, whatever it is, touch, sit on the same chairs. Because subconsciously these are common objects, right? Then they make us feel more together. And online, these things are missing. So we need to find ways to create these common objects. Whether it's, you know, a video that everybody's looking at, whether it's a survey, and we'll talk about some other elements later. Side conversations. Bear with me here for a second. Imagine that you are presenting to a room of 8 people. You're not even selling, it's just an internal meeting. And in the corner of the room, I see Andres, and welcome to the session, Andres, is having a little chit chat with Edita. Hi, Edita, by the way. All right, they're having a little chit chat. While I'm speaking to the group, right? I'm speaking to them, but I see them. Now, I can tell without saying anything that they're speaking about something that I'm talking about. And I kind of look at them, they look at me, and we kind of nod to one another, kind of almost just looking at each other, understanding that it's okay that they're having that chit chat, right? Does that sound familiar? Right? I know, I guarantee you know exactly what I'm talking about. And when it's in online, I don't know if Edita right now and Andres are talking, right? I have no idea. And so I can't see. And so I can't hear. It's a big gap. Here's another thing, separation anxiety. I want to ask, we are definitely not talking, Edita said. Jesse, you're on, right, Jesse? I see you're on and you just muted yourself. So feel free to unmute yourself. And feel free if you want to also turn your video on, Jesse, we'll make it interesting. So hold on, I need to allow you to start your video. I should be able now. I have a question for you, Jesse. First of all, good to see you, sir.
Great to see you. What's up, everybody?
When you finish an online session, right? You finish the call. Let me go back. When you finish a meeting in a room with people and you say goodbye, you finish the meeting, people go out, you talk to them, chit chat a little. All right, I'll see you later. Oh, by the way, this and that, right? Little things like that. But when you are in an online call, in an online session, it's just click. That's it, right? Do you ever feel like I'm missing that, you know, little things of the goodbye of the, and for me, it's, and I assume a lot of people here are, you know, experiencing the same thing. So what do you do? How do you, you know, we don't need to discuss it now, we'll discuss it later, but what do you do? I'm kind of asking everybody. Deepa says, yeah, yes, right? You know what I'm talking about. Yes, absolutely. Okay, and we talked about the nonverbal communication. I'll tell you something else. How do I know, for example, that, Ramin right now in Geneva is not doing this while I'm talking? I don't know, I can't see him. And when I thought about this, it reminded me of an interesting movie. So let me show you a quick video.
As I walk, the movie will be over. Sir, yes. Never have that damn thing down in front of me. I don't even make a face at the end of that thing. It's true. Yes, there it is. Play it, Trudy.
All right. I am, every time I see that movie, or I love that movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Spaceballs, the great Spaceballs. So when I prepared for this session, it reminded me of that. All right. So if I told you all these things, and one of the things online to overcome this is to make us all feel together, is to be in a setting where we can actually see each other and feel more closer to one another. So what I'm going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to promote slowly here everybody to be a panelist. So we will be in a set of a meeting, everybody. So everybody who's willing, please turn your video on. Let me just real quick ask for greetings from Portugal. Wow, Marco, my friend Marco, welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now turning everybody here slowly, one by one, as I'm going to keep going, to panelists. What happens is you are going to be disconnected automatically and reconnected automatically, and then turn your video on. You'll be able to turn your mic on, and so we'll be more more interactive. You don't have to turn your video on, Nick, if you're naked, but I urge as many of you to turn the video on. So we have Jesse joined us, which we saw you already. Let's see how many. All right, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Let me see if I can do that. Technical issues. No worries. I know what to do. Marina, can you make me the host back, or are you turning people to panelists? Because I made you the host. Marina going once. I asked Marina to help me today. Marina, are you there? No?
Hang on one second. I'm going to turn it right back to you.
Thank you. All right. While we're going to do that, let's continue. And now that we're together, which one of the things that I hope you're taking from this is little things that I'm using as Marina, if you can mute yourself, that would be great. Thank you. And let me know once I am the host again. One of the things that I'm doing as I'm going along here is the interaction, right? The interaction bridges that gap a lot. But one of the things that I want to highlight is, of course, okay, I see now everybody is becoming a panelist, which is fantastic. So if you are becoming a panelist, please go ahead and turn the video. Hi, Melissa. That's awesome. You're somewhere in the mountains, I see. Here's Skip. All right. Slowly, more and more people are coming, which is great. And this is the first thing of now that we're together. And by the way, when we're together, go ahead and change the video setting to a grid so you can see as many people as you want. Andy, looking good, my friend. Awesome. So one of the things is a webinar versus a meeting, right? When you do a webinar, it's one-to-many, like I was before. So I was speaking, you didn't see each other, right? But now, one of the quick things we did is we got everybody to be able to see each other, show each other, right? Which is already making you feel like, hey, here are some people around us. So use the video. And Mr. Ware, good to see you. Deepa, good to see you. This is, everybody now feels excited, right? You see faces, you see reactions, and this is great. You also you see people's background, which is also great. And Anka, wow, look at your dog. It's awesome. All right, so this is one thing that we want to be aware of. Meeting versus webinar. All technologies today, whether it's Zoom, GoToMeeting, etc., have those capabilities. Second thing is creating the ambience. If you joined a few minutes earlier, right, it was great. Sorry, I just realized that Nick was serious when he said he was naked. Thank you for putting the robe on, Nick. I appreciate it. When I was presenting at an online conference a couple of weeks ago, and I was a presenter, and from the organization, the conference itself, they had somebody to set it up for me, and they asked me to join 15 minutes before, right? 15 minutes before so they can test it. But we tested it offline, and it took 3 minutes to test it. And once we finished the testing, there was 10 more minutes until the session actually starts. And the technician said to me, hey, Alon, let's wait 10 minutes and I'll turn it on and I'll let everybody come in. It was in a webinar mode. I'll let everybody come in when it's time in 10 minutes. And I said, no, turn it on right now. Because when you turn it on right now, I can set the ambience. For those of you who came in today to today's session a few minutes early, right? We chit-chat a little bit. I asked you, how you doing? Where are you from? And all that. That created the ambience, make you feel more comfortable. It made Nancy feel more welcome. Use those elements in an online session. It's okay. You don't have to just say, click on, okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about, it's okay to chit-chat. It's okay to set up the ambience this way. Here's an interesting exercise that I did with one of my customers recently. and I want to try it now with you and show you another element of making people feel together. Before a meeting, right? Before a meeting that you have with internal, etc. Let's say that we are now here meeting and we start the meeting. And I'm going to say, hey, Skip, because you are the man, we're going to put you right here in the head of the table. You're going to be sitting at the head of the table. Okay? Is that okay for you, Skip?
Sure.
All right, awesome. Now,
As long as I don't have to pay the bill.
well, we'll get there. Eve, I know you like to sit on the other side from Skip, because after last meeting, I saw what happened. So I'm going to put you here, right here. Is that okay, Eve? You can mute yourself, I think, right now.
Sure.
Awesome. Mr. Wasserman, Seth, how are you, sir? Are you okay sitting here, right across from Eve?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, that sounds great.
Okay, awesome. Now here's the other trick here, because I'm going to put Evan right next to Seth. But Evan,
Oh, please don't.
last time you were sitting next to Seth. Last time you were sitting next to Seth, it ended up with fights. So behave, okay?
I sold him a quarter for $1,000, so it worked.
Yeah. All right. And Mr. Ware, are you okay if I'm going to put you right here next to
Sounds
Eve?
good. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, awesome. So what am I doing here actually? Right? Even if I just did that and I made everybody feel like we're sitting in one room, we're all looking at the same view. And I also open it up for a little kind of, making fun of one another, which also is an element we talked about of, the togetherness. So I did it a couple of weeks ago with one of my customers, and it was great because it started jokes, etc. And then we kept going. And 15 minutes into the presentation, we had only 1 or 2 seats left after we placed everybody. And 15 minutes into the presentation, somebody came in, and they came in late. And I just said, hey, and kept going. But then somebody from the team kind of jumped in and said, oh, hold on a second, where's Sam going to be sitting? Let's go back to the room and see where they're going to sit. We want to know where they sit. And that was, for me, one of the elements that I referred to in my emotional relevance world, which is an emotional anchor. Okay? We created an emotional anchor here, and now people can refer to it later. Here, there are new technologies that are coming out in the online world. Let me just delete all the annotations so it doesn't bother us. And one of the new technologies that are coming out is called Remo. Instead of Zoom, you can use something called Remo. And Remo actually took that psychology and created a virtual room that when you go into the room, when you go into the session, you can actually pick a seat where you sit, which table you're sitting with, or maybe you're sitting in the little lounge area here. You see, when I went into that session, I was just testing it, so I came myself. I just placed myself here, right? So you see it coming up in different technologies, which is really, really cool. And I urge everybody to look at Remo. And since I see Mr. Baker is here from the great city of near Vancouver, Ben saw it in action. What do you think about Remo?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually presenting in the Remo room tomorrow morning. And we've had upwards of, 150, 200 people in these different rooms. And the nice thing about it is, as I said, instead of it just being a meeting where the meeting starts at 8 o'clock and it's done at 9 o'clock, people are now showing up 20 minutes, 25 minutes early. They're jumping from table to table because the difference is you can click. Say you're at table where Alon is, and if there's somebody that you want in table 6, you just click on table 6, and you actually move into table 6. And as long as there's a seat there, you all of a sudden are talking to the people at table 6. So you're never talking talking to more than 6 people at a time, and it allows for engagement interaction to go on, and that way you can have these little, quiet conversations going on before and then after the meeting. Like, I'm presenting tomorrow and I've told everybody, look, I'll stick around after the meeting. I'll be hanging out in the left lounge. Come and find me. So I'll just sit there and people can come and find me if they want to talk to me afterwards. But the nice thing about it is when I'm ready to do my presentation, I just click presentation mode and all of those eyes automatically turn on me. So it just snaps everybody out of their internal conversations, and then they can have a conversation. Then they're watching the presentation. I can put them back into their rooms if I have a question. I said, listen, what do you guys think about this? Here's 10 minutes. Go and talk amongst yourselves. Put them back into their rooms. They have their conversation, bring them back, and then I can talk to different tables and sit there and say, okay, John in table 3, what did you guys think about this? And be able to bring that person up on stage. So the engagement through this is amazing, and it allows for a lot more personality to show through. So we're really looking at it for organizations that have worldwide conferences. Instead of meeting, say, 4 times a year live, maybe they meet 2 times a year live, and twice a year they meet over this technology. So that way they still engage with each other, they still have the interaction, but it saves hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in airfare, travel, all that kind of stuff.
For me, thank you, Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Baker from somewhere in Canada. Thank you, Ben. I'm looking
Vancouver.
Vancouver, near Vancouver.
Near Vancouver, close to Vancouver, south of Vancouver.
What interesting for me, first of all, Seth, thank you for placing the URL there. So Ramin, I think you got the answer there in the chat. For me, to see the psychology of technologies, remember last time when I mentioned to you that my opinion about technology, that the best technology in the world is the technology you don't even know is there. And that's what the technologies are now looking at, how to take the psychology of it and things that I talked about, and they understand it in the online world. So it's really beautiful to see. Before I'm going to drill into the life of Jesse Tedisco here, couple more elements of doing things online. There's an option in an online meeting to lock the meeting, right? To lock it so nobody can come in. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the room right now so nobody can come in. If somebody wants to come in right now, it's going to say that the room is locked. Me just saying it now makes everybody here feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more special, a little bit more, together. Little things like that. Little things like that. I mentioned earlier, talk about a common something, right? Whatever it is, a survey. They say that how does it go? My enemy's enemy is my friend. How does it work? Something like that, yeah? It's the same psychology, right?
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
No, yes, that's true too, Andy. But what I'm talking about, the psychology of, if you and I have a mutual enemy, right? We have something that will really, really kind of like puts us together even closer. So when you create something common for the group, whether it's a survey, whether it's, I mentioned a few things earlier, it kind of helps in that sense. There's another element in meetings, in Zoom and GoToMeeting and all of them, which are breakout sessions. Okay, I don't know if anybody here used it before or not, but it's fantastic. You can get a group of, let's say you have 30 people on the session, you can divide them up to 6 groups of 5, give them 3 minutes to work on something. You as the host can jump between one group to another, right? And you change the ambience, and then you bring everybody together. You got them to work on something, then you bring them back to work on it together. Fantastic. And it works beautifully. 2 clicks, and it's great. People get so excited all of a sudden that they're just in a smaller group, and then they come back and they share experiences, etc. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, I want to welcome officially the one and only Jesse Todisco, which is an interesting, I met him recently, but we have a play date tonight. So we're going to meet face to face tonight. I'm looking forward to it. And Jesse, thank you for being here. Why don't you take a minute and tell us about you, about the Jesse T Show, and who are you, Jesse Todisco?
Yep. Thanks so much, Alon. Looking forward to our play date. And thank you to everybody who's on the video cast and the stream. So I have an unusual story, which I won't have enough time to get into. But, the overarching theme is I shouldn't even be here on earth. And so there's a lot of things that I've seen, but it's led me to a place of abundance and gratitude. And so what I do now is I've taken all my life experiences and training. And the first thing I do is I'm a fiduciary, which is a funny word to, say that when I handle those financial planning, I have to do it the right way. I don't screw people over.
Don't worry. I want
Hold on a second.
to
Let me mute Evan.
Are you by your...
Hold on. Evan. Hey, there you go. He's mute. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jesse.
So I was just saying that I'm an independent investment advisor, entrepreneur my whole life, and I show people how to live well now with their finances and never run out of money in their future. And there's a big issue right now in the economy of people wondering if they're going to recover, if they're going to survive. And the answer is yes, but it's going to take a little bit of work. The second thing that I do is what's on the screen. It's the Jesse T Show. And this is a passion project where I have entrepreneurs, thought leaders, creators, and athletes come on my podcast. It's also a YouTube channel. And they share their journey. They share their story. There's a lot of people that come on and talk about what they've created, what they've built, things they've overcome. I've had some really serious conversations with people. So if people are looking to level up in business and relationships and life, health, and wellness, we have experts that come on and share those journeys. And the last thing I have is a nonprofit that I sit on the board of. And the nonprofit was born of an idea where people that have lost children from a miscarriage all the way up to, the passing of an adult child, there's not really a community or a place to go to where people can share those, journeys and get the help that they need to walk through that season of life. And because I've experienced those things personally with my family, it just was something that was put on our heart to be able to give back and help people through the same things.
So Jesse, I know you served. I know you kind of brushed through it, but I know you served. And first of all, thank you for your service.
It's a pleasure, man. It's fun.
Let me ask you something. In your service, that feeling of togetherness, that importance of togetherness, how did it, come about during your service, and how those elements help you in, civilian life later?
Sure. There's a term in the military, and I'm sure it's militaries throughout the world that's similar, but it's basically your battle buddy. And just like any kind of sports, any kind of, crucible that you're going through, if you're side by side with someone sharing that same exact experience and overcoming the odds, it bands you together as family. And so that togetherness is built through the struggle. It's built through the overcoming. And we're all going through a struggle right now with this pandemic as a world. And so we're building this shared consciousness. We're building this shared experience that we can use as we step back into what the world's going to look like in a few months or however long it takes. And so the biggest thing is the togetherness, the teamwork, I have your back, you have my back. You have to have total faith in the person next to you, especially in a military setting. But you could do that in your day-to-day life too, and really build those bonds that'll last a lifetime.
Yeah, that's, I think the interesting thing psychologically is that we're all going through something common right now. We're all going through a crisis, which hopefully a lot of people hope that it will, bring us together. So in your world of business today, what's your biggest challenge or challenges when you're not together with your customers?
Yeah, so for me, I've had to pivot just like everybody else, and I've built this business to be lean and mean to where I can do it from anywhere in the world. So, we get someone chiming in. So basically the biggest thing is staying connected, staying top of mind, keeping their needs ahead of my own. And the biggest challenge is I like to be in front of people. I'm a hugger. I like to sit down with people. I like to be close to people and have that community feel, that family feel. So for me as an entrepreneur, and I know there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs on this call, times can get lonely, especially during COVID. And so you really have to have that mindset of who to plug into, the positive people, and who to connect with, and then also being there and showing up for your clients. And so whether it's through Zoom, whether it's through old school phone calls, whether it's through whatever means it is, you really got to lean on people during these times because, you know, it's hard for everyone to connect.
Listen, I couldn't agree more. And those of you who know me, I'm a big hugger as well. People make fun of me that I'm very itchy these days because, you know, no hugs are allowed. Jesse, you have done a lot of stuff online and a lot of communication and work and business. I want to ask you an interesting question. Can you share with us a couple of scenarios where maybe there was something that happened that wasn't supposed to happen online? I don't know, somebody opened a video, because these things, you know, help us also, funny enough, to feel together, right? If something embarrassing is happening right now to somebody here online, right, we will feel a little closer. Do you have any juicy stories that you can share with us?
I have a few, and I don't know if it'll exactly relate to video conferencing, but there's one I remember. My first company that I built was a sales and marketing company where it was back in 2006 or 2010 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it was born of this idea where you had these outside sales reps that would go business to business, working on commission, cold calling, talking to people in those businesses. And basically, like, if you think of a Groupon before Groupon was really big, we were marketing services for sports teams, restaurants, hotels, golf courses at a discount to get foot traffic for those businesses. And so it was very much outside sales, you know, kind of like taboo. Like, you had meetings in the morning where people were like getting excited, ready to go hit the field. And so there was a lot of turnover because it's a hard job and, you know, not a lot of people can do it. And so when you're recruiting people, you'd have to show them what was called the opportunity, which was take them out in the field for 8 hours. They're walking with you door to door, business to business, and you're cold calling people.
Yeah.
And so there was this one time where one of my, we called them leaders, which were basically like account managers, would go out into the field and show them the opportunity, because along with the opportunity, basically based on your work ethic, if you could train people and if you could learn the business, you could go open up your own satellite office somewhere else in the world or the country.
Right.
And so we took somebody out one day, they saw the opportunity and they just hated it. They didn't think it was for them. And so they put on the one blemish I feel like on my business, any ventures I've been in, is there was like a ripoff report they put on there. And they put on a ripoff report saying, I can't believe it. We had to go outside and walk around all day and like sell these tickets to people. And basically they knew what they were getting into. So they basically just gave a job description of what the job was. And so having that ripoff report for me for a long time kind of like really was a thorn in my side, because it was just a blemish on the business that I couldn't control. And that ties into today, where people that have been forced to work from home or forced to shut their businesses down, which is terrible. It wasn't their fault. Like, they didn't do anything wrong for that to happen.
Right.
And so for me, that was something that was, and I've been long since gotten over it and I don't really care about it anymore. But like, as a new business owner where like your name was like everything, that really, you know, got on my side.
Yeah. It's a whole world out there. Jesse, we are almost wrapping up here in a couple of minutes. What do you want from all of us now to know, or to come to you to ask, or how can you go ahead, tell us a couple of sentences, how we can reach out to you, where we can get the Jesse T show?
Yep.
Tell us something.
I'll go ahead and I'll drop my link tree in the comments here. I've seen someone's reached out, said they wanted to be on the podcast. We could definitely talk about that. I'm always looking for more interesting people to speak to and would love to be of value. But the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is being in finance, being an investment advisor, money is completely secondary to time. And the moments that we have right now, the seconds that we have right now, we're not guaranteed the next one. And because I've seen those things in life where I've overcome these crazy things and been very lucky to experience them, I've learned the value of time. And so the thought that I'll leave with people is there's an old Stoic philosophy. It's called memento mori. And it's basically saying that know that you're mortal, know that you're going to die. So let that be the muse to push you to show up better in the world and have better relationships and work on things that are, you know, going to help people and help yourself. And so for people that are on right now, and especially in the time that we're in right now, where we've kind of got a left hook to the face with like the whole world changing, really plug into those people that matter most, whether if it's your business, it's your employees, it's your partners, it's your clients. If it's your family, obviously that goes without saying. Like those relationships that you have, you don't know if you're going to have them the next day because the time isn't guaranteed. So for me, that's the biggest mindset. Outside of that, I'll just leave my link tree in the notes. And for anyone who wants to connect, I love to connect and meet new people. So if I could be of service, that's my purpose on earth.
That's awesome. Let's give Jesse one big round of applause, please, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Go ahead. We can see you. Go ahead. We can see you. Yariv, it's okay to clap. Eve, wake up. Hello, Eve. Hands for Jesse. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is one interesting thing I want to wrap up with before I tell you about the next session.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Jesse. I'll talk to you later. But I always try to also show you how other companies and other brands are taking, Marco, I love your clapping. It's almost like you're dancing, what is it called? Anyways, my new friend from Portugal, Marco Novo.
Flamenco.
Exactly. I was on Marco's show yesterday and it was great. So look him up. A lot of brands understand these elements, these psychological elements of, when I talk about emotional relevance, I just wrapped it. And this is something that came out a few years ago when LeBron James came back to Cleveland. And I'm just talking about it, it gives me chills. I'm not a LeBron James fan, don't get me wrong. I love the guy, I'm not a fan, but what they did here is the city, under the umbrella of Togetherness. I want everybody to see, please go ahead.
Every single night, every single practice, every single game, we gotta give it all we got. Because they gonna ride with us. Everything that we do on this floor, because of this city, we owe it. We're gonna grind for this city. They're gonna support us, man. We gotta give it all back to them. We get it done. The toughness that we have on the court is gonna come from this city. Everybody, the whole city of Cleveland. That's what it's all about. It's time to bring them something special. So bring it on in, everybody. Let's go. Let's go. All work on three. Together on six. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. All work on three. Together on six. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Here we go, man. All work on three. Together on six. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Go right here. Let's get it. It's all us. Click on three. 1, 2, 3.
All right, I got the chills. I watched this 17 times already. All the elements that we talked about were there. All of the elements. Okay, I am sharing with everybody now. Oops, sorry, I sent it just to Andy for some reason. I'm sharing now the link for next session, ladies and gentlemen. Next session title is going to be Outlander. And not only because I'm a big fan of the show, as you can see, I'm a big fan of Claire Frazier. Those of you who are watching Outlander know what I'm talking about, aka Sassenach. I love you, Sassenach. And it's May 27th at noon. I'm not going to give you too many details and keep you surprised. Please go ahead, click now on the link and sign up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. I hope it was
Thank you.
Valuable. Thank you. I hope it was valuable. to some degree. And I'm going to stick around as always for a couple more minutes. If anybody wants to chat, say hi, or ask anything. But in any case, have a great rest of the day wherever you are in the world. Really good to see your faces, wherever you are. Thank you.
You.
Be well, everyone.
Andy, we got to talk, Andy. We got to
Thanks,
talk.
Alon.
I'll stay on for a bit. I'll stay on.
Thank you, Alon.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alon.
Thank you.
Alon?
Yes.
This is Nancy. A quick funny story.
Please.
You mentioned, how do you feel when you go into a bar with your friends?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a distinction between the lounge at the Hyatt and a bar. The last time I went to a bar, I was a street cop, and my friends were wearing uniforms just like mine. So, and of course, I was invited to a fight in progress at a bar. And I rode a one-officer police car. So when I got there, I was the only cop in the room. But the trick, of course, to going to a fight in progress at a bar is you turn on your siren so they know you're coming. Because they have a lot of these fights, and they know the rule is, if you're still standing and swinging when the officer walks in that door, you are going to jail, that was the advice I was given as a brand new cop, turn on your siren. And I'm one of the first women officers to operate on the street. So I wasn't sure this was a good idea, but I turned on my siren and I get there and I walk in, and of course they're amazed. They've never seen anything, a blue-eyed blonde in a uniform who smells pretty good also, as opposed to being, 6'2", 220. And they were all sitting down, or at least not fighting. So when I think of going to a bar with friends, I think of somebody who's got my back, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be somebody in uniform.
Right.
More than once I was backed up by somebody at the bar, which I was very grateful for. So my idea of going to a bar and what I felt going into a bar was really different.
But first of all, thank you for sharing. Two, wearing uniform, same uniform, also is a psychological aspect of the togetherness.
Yes.
Also, thank you for your service. I didn't know it's great. It's unbelievable. And the last thing I want to tell you, Nancy, is that's emotional relevance. When I said you're going with friends to a bar, that brought back that memory for you. That's exactly the kind of area that I work on, which is great. Thank you for sharing, Nancy.
My pleasure. And it really did brought back all of it. I could smell the bar. I could feel how cold it was, and I could feel walking in alone. And and then later when I was out of uniform and working as a detective, I often thought, why did they sit down when I told them to? I mean, what were they thinking? I'm 5'5", 125 pounds. These are big guys who are used to fighting. But you're right, that uniform makes it, that and the surprise effect of somebody they weren't expecting to walk in. Thank you for your seminar. It was so much fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were here, and I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Deepa, you're still here. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, I did that, Alan.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I actually shared the session with my husband because we're both home and I didn't want him to miss out on what I was up to. So the other Deepa that you can see is my husband out there.
That's great. Thank you for joining. Feel free to share it with anybody that you want. It's good to see your face.
I know
so much
because we are
wonderful.
I'm
For this wonderful session. Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. And above all, I would like to thank Deepa for actually having invited me into it. It was so kind of her, actually. And God's grace, I didn't miss this session. Just one more thing. I think you were referring to the enemy of an enemy is a friend. I think you were referring to that quote.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
okay.
it.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Alan.
Time. I appreciate it.
I'd like you to sing sometime. I missed that session last GBTA.
Only when I have 4,000 people in the audience. That's
We'll make that happen. I will let all the Middle East know that we have Alan and is going to sing sometime soon. So we'll bring you the numbers. Don't worry.
But it's not going to be with travel leaders anymore, Deepa.
I know. We'll do a private session.
That's anytime. Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless you and take care. God bless you
as well. Be safe. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yes, and you too. Take care. Stay safe, all of you.
Thank you very much.
All of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Andy.
Yes.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Crikey. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
That was quite unique because I saw Evan